Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my third iteration of my Storm Totem Shaman. Of course, stronger than ever. And you're going to see tons of build guides coming out of this channel because right now we're updating all the videos on actionrpg.com. As always, I will show you every single facet of the build. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now what you're looking at right now is 900 Corruption. And the skills we are using are Thorn Totem, Upheaval Totem, Storm Totem, Summon Spriggan, and Gathering Storm. Shout out to community member Bamster, who's kind of a Storm Totem expert, who's given me some tips and tricks for this build. And it is very, very simple. For the most part, what you do is you throw out a Thorn Totem cluster, then that gets consumed when you make your Storm Totem, and it just tears up everything on the screen. What you use Upheaval Totem for is to super boost your Storm Totem, and it does a little damage itself when you have a harder fight, basically single target. For the most part, you jump around, Thorn Totem, Storm Totem, Thorn Totem, Storm Totem, and that's it. Summon Spriggan just runs around and buffs your totem and gives you critical strike avoidance and base crit. And I'll show a little more gameplay because that was very quick. And you can see right now, even at 900 Corruption, we're just walking through this map. It is ridiculous. And the Storm Totem has, like, good AoE. It basically can clear the entire screen. All right, I think you get the point. Let me show you single target. 900 Corruption Abomination. It's already dead. All right. 900 Corruption Abomination's Harbinger. So again, in this situation, we are now using the Upheaval Totem. So you throw out Thorn Totem, then you put out Storm Totem to super boost it. Then you drop your Upheaval Totems, which are hitting your Storm Totem, and it's super boosting it. And even the Harbinger of Defilement at 900 Corruption is smoked. As always, I gotta show you the Avaroth kill, and this fight is very, very simple for this build. So, here, let's get the Summon Spriggan up. Probably shouldn't stand in front of that. Thorn Totem, Storm Totem, Upheaval Totem, and then you drop more Thorn Totems to continue to hit Avaroth. And you just dodge everything. Look at that damage. Dead. Let me show you how to recreate this build. So let's start by breaking down the skills. First skill we're going to look at is our damage dealer, which is Storm Totem. And I'll try and point you in the right direction on what nodes you want to take first. Now, there's a lot of important nodes for this skill. First thing you want to do is you want to come over to the left and grab Core. This is going to give you base spell lightning damage from your shock chance. And you're going to have a ton of shock chance for this build. Next thing you want to do is take this branch right here, which is basically going to allow the Storm Totem to use your Gathering Storm tree. More importantly, it's Storm Bolts. You're then going to come down over here, take attack speed, area, multiplicative damage, and make it where it can eat or consume other totems. That's why you cast 5 Thorn Totems, then you actually make your Storm Totem, so then it's a super totem. You're then going to come to the right, boost crit and crit multiplier. Lastly, you're going to come down here, take multiplicative damage against shocked enemies, which all enemies will be shocked, and then all remaining points go in here, which is more base critical strike chance. Awesome skill. Moving over to Upheaval, and in our way, we use it as Upheaval Totem. Now, the first thing you actually want to do is come down here and turn it into a totem. That way you have multiple charges of your Upheaval Totem. So you actually want to take this bottom branch first. You are then going to come up and snag Shockwave on hit, but more importantly, Master of the Totem. So totem damage with this buff. When your Upheaval hits another totem, it is going to get a buff up to 60% multiplicative damage, which is awesome. Now, again, you don't need this when you're actually clearing maps. It's like way overkill. So for the most part, you will use this for single target. You're then going to boost the area, or you're going to get frailty chance. Then you are going to boost the area of your Upheaval. That way, it's really easy for it to hit your other totems. Moving over to Gathering Storm. First thing you want to do is you want to come over and snag the multiplicative damage. You're then going to come up and grab Shock Chance and base spell damage. You're then going to come down and grab Lightning Penetration and more multiplicative damage based upon mana consumed. And then the remaining points, you're going to go into Area and Chance for Repeat. Pretty basic setup here. Now, this is kind of a newcomer to the build, Summon Spriggan. Messed around with Warcry, I messed around with Tempest Strike, and then I landed on Summon Spriggan. And ultimately what you want is it's going to give you base spell damage. It's going to give you base crit. It's going to give you crit avoidance. And you really just want to try and keep it alive with extra life, armor, and physical res. Then you got a couple of points. You put it down here to boost your dodge rating based upon your attunement, and you will have a ton of attunement. Last but not least, the build's food. Not only does Upheaval Totem can eat Thorn Totems, Gathering Storm, it is very, very important. So the first thing you want to do is you want more totems. You want them to come in a ring, and you don't want this to eat up all your mana. So you take mana per totem and mana efficiency. All the remaining points will come down here into double projectile chance. Give it single projectile so it will target the enemy and give it a chance to pierce. That is the skills. So now let's break down the passives. At time of recording, I am level 100, so we have all our passive points and I'm logged into the game. So we're going to look at the base Primalist tree. Now, we're going to get attunement and resistances, overall life, increased spell damage, and then increased base totem damage. This is tripled with an axe, and we are using an axe. We're then going to jump over to Druid. Now, for Druid, you need 15 points into this tree to unlock Summon Spriggan. So for me, I took Endurance, Armor, Minion Armor, 1 point into Spirit Warden, and then 7 into Druid Prowess, which gives us Attunement, Strength, and All Attribute. Now jumping over to Shaman. Attunement and Lightning Penetration for minions. 2 points into Tempest Form for a little more shock and life. We're taking Attunement, Endurance Threshold, and Stun Avoidance. Lightning, Base Lightning, more Base Lightning. Up here, we're taking increased totem duration and increased lightning damage. Attunement and mana. Frenzy for the totem when you directly cast, which you'll be directly casting all the time, so your totems will always be frenzied. And then on here, we have health regen, totem stun immunity, health, and armor. Now, the remaining points are a toss-up, so pay attention to this point. Over in Beastmaster, I have 8 into Yersin Strength, which is strength and damage reduction for nearby enemies. And then you have an option, these 5 points right here. Currently, I don't need resistances for my build in-game, so I've taken Aspect of the Boar. When I leap or use Evade, I get Aspect of the Boar, which is an additional 15% damage reduction and more endurance. So ultimately, these two combined at melee range is a 31% DR. Now, if you need resistances, I recommend these 5 points in Shaman actually put right here. And this is going to take care of all of your elemental and all of your physical resistance, which is really, really nice. Again, I just don't need it in game right now. Those are the passives. Moving over to last Epoch tools to break down the blessings, idols, and gear, starting with blessings. Now, know that you can always switch out these blessings if you want to use something different. For example, if you wanted critical strike avoidance or endurance or minion damage, you can always do that. That being said, the blessings I am using, health, all res, double armor, and chance to apply shock on hit. Again, you want as much shock as possible because that's going to boost your storm totem damage. Moving over to idols, the main idol I am using is increased cast speed for totems. You can get up to 60% with 2. An increased minion critical strike chance, you can get up to 120% with 2. And what's great is there's on here, you actually have minion increased cast speed and minion base spell as an enchantment you could get on the idol as well. So it just fits perfectly. The rest of the idols are just rounding out some health and giving us some resistances. Idols, blessings. Moving over to the gear, I'm happy to report that there's nothing required for this build, which means you need to go get this item to make it work. No, there is a lot of best in slots though, and we're going to start actually with the Coral Shield right here. This is a boss drop from Lagon, and why this is so important is it could roll up to 430% chance to shock attackers, and then if you slam a T7 on it, you can get another 220, which means this item specifically could give you up to 650% shock. So if you combine that with the blessing, just the blessing and the shield alone is 750% shock. It is unbelievable, and that's why you're getting such crazy damage from your Storm Totem. Now, some other items that we are using. We're using Mask of Indifference as our primordial. There's not like a super great primordial for this, so we're just taking the immune to blind, bleed, slow, chill, shock, and stun. This takes care of all your reduced damage taken from critical strikes, gives you armor and endurance, and then you want to slam a +4 to Storm Totem on it. We're using Paleox for the damage reduction. We need an axe, so we are using Tempest Maw. This is going to scale great with Gathering Storm. It's also going to give you minions with it, and we are slamming double minion spell on it. For our amulet, we're using Death Rattle for the minion critical strike multiplier. Now, no, you can use Evolution's End as well. Evolution's End and Death Rattle, they are very, very close, but Death Rattle actually gives us more damage, and the +2 to skills actually isn't really needed for this build, so I've gone with Death Rattle. For the belt, we're using Omen of the Thunder, which is going to give you lightning penetration for totems and +1 to skills. We're using double Phantom Grips for the 8% minion critical strike chance +4 to skills, slammed with attunement and health. We're using Jewelra's Obsession to transfer over chance to apply Armor Shred on hit to all of our totems. It also gives you base spell damage. We're using Foot of the Mountain for the attributes Endurance on it and lowers mana. And last but not least, Stormcarved Testament, which is also a Lagon drop. I just realized we have 2 Lagon drops on the build, which is going to be attunement, mana, and more lightning penetration for your totems. That is the gear. Moving over to actionrpg.com to talk leveling, and know that all our leveling guides have been tested in game and fine-tuned to give you a really good experience, so you could trust it. Well, hopefully you could trust it. This leveling guide takes you to level 60. We believe you should not be in a leveling guide after level 60, because at that point you've beaten the campaign and you are cruising through normal monoliths. So, you know, you should be in your end game build. That being said, the skills that we recommend is Thorn Totem, Swipe, Storm Totem, Storm Crows, and Atera's Blessing. And what's great is that since Storm Totem is in the leveling guide, it's a very easy transition for this build to actually go into the end game version. We also have some recommended leveling uniques here at the bottom, like Phantom Grip, Circuit, Pride, Flight, and Toll. If you want to take a look at the leveling guide, it is linked in the description. Also, if you go to actionrpg.com and you click on Last Epoch, you have endgame builds and you have leveling guides. You just go to the Shaman leveling guide. Last but not least, let's talk Lootfilter. This is a newer section I've added to my build guides, honestly, because I just get so many questions about it. And just know there's tons of universal filters out there. You could make your own. Pick your favorite one from your favorite creator. But if you want to use mine, it is in the FAQ on actionrpg.com and in the description. Now, the way I set this up is pretty simple. All the red rules here at the bottom are actually the leveling rules for this build. So if you want to play this from 1 to level 60, you can do that, and you would use these rules here. Once you are in the monolith level 60 plus, you would uncheck all of these because you would no longer need rare items, and you would only use the top here. So on this, you are going to see all different idols for the build that could be useful. You're going to see 2 LP or higher and Weaver's Will of 19 or higher. You're going to see double T6 or higher, triple T6 or higher, T7 exalted affixes, and all the uniques you would need for this build. That's the top rule here. And just know that even with this, I also put in high value uniques. So for example, Red Rings or Orin's Eye or Ravenous Void. These are all on here as well because it's exciting to find something rare. Again, it's in the FAQ on actionrpg.com at the bottom or in the description on this video if you want to use my loot filter. All right, everybody, that's the build guide. What do you think of my new and improved Storm Totem build? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything I could do to take this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Of course, only if you think I've earned it. If I haven't earned it, I'm going to work harder for you. Don't forget to check out my new website, actionrpg.com. We just brought on a new writer. We've got an event calendar, news, tips and tricks, leveling guides, build guides. We're working on our custom API and database. It is going to be very, very cool when it's done. We even have a new music player we added to the site. Don't forget to check out actionrpg.com. Last but not least, join the Discord, over 5,000 active members. We do merch giveaways, game giveaways, movie nights, game nights, all the subathon shenanigans. Go through the Discord. If you love all things Action RPG, check out the Discord. I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.